Good morning and welcome back to my channel. Ooh, I hope everyone had a great New Year and a great Christmas.
Daddy, Mommy.
Thank you, Nalini.
Mommy.
Come over here. Boss Baby went to. Boss Baby spent Christmas at her dad's place, so it was just me in the tiny house. But we had a good time. Right, Boss? She got it herself. Okay. So today I wanted to start a series based on a question that I get a lot and I see a lot, and that is tiny house living really worth it, or is it just some giant social media scam? Some people have actually said that to me. Ridiculous. But so I thought I would address that here. Yeah, she's screaming. I know she's screaming. Let me just fix this. Oh, okay. There we go. Make sure this is centered. Okay, I hate this thing. Anyways, so yeah, I figured I would address that question in a few different parts, just because there are like so many different aspects to whether or not tiny house living is worth it. But today, I thought I would talk about the financial aspect of it, and it's gonna be a short video, probably no more than 10 minutes. But yeah, let's get into it. Ooh, transition. I need transition, y'all. I need like cool videos. So, a lot of people question whether or not tiny house living is worth it when they hear the price of tiny houses. They are not as cheap as people think they are, or as tiny house hunters have them believing they are. And a lot of people get kind of upset and they feel a little gypped when they hear that tiny houses are usually going to cost you over $50,000, and some are even over $100,000. And they're like, so is this really worth it? Like, with that amount of money you could buy a small house. Hate that argument, but we'll roll with it. You, of course, can buy a small house between $50,000 and $100,000, but come on now, you guys. Only in very select few states can you buy a house for $50,000. We know which states I'm talking about. The ones that were East Soggy Waffles, like Southwest mid area over there, Alabama, Missouri area. You cannot find a house for $50,000 in Florida. Maybe it's between like, 70 and 100, but it's either going to be a condo, and if it's a standalone single family home, it's most likely going to be a lot of reservations. And the most important part here, it can't move. One of the biggest reasons why people go tiny is so that their house can move with them wherever they go. So it's just like not a valid argument, because if people are paying that much for a tiny house, it's for a reason. It's not simply just to have a home. But yeah, tiny houses are expensive. Mine was $75,000 for a 26-footer, and the base price of it was like $65 at the time. Hold on, oh, you got it, children. But for a tiny house with 24 feet and above, I always say to average around $60K. Can you find some for under $60K? Of course you can. But you're either building it yourself, you're either buying it used, or you're buying it from someone who is not a tiny house builder, but they build tiny houses. Like maybe their company isn't very big, or maybe they just built their home and they're selling it to you, which I guess would be considered used. Yeah, I guess. And the materials are recycled, or they're just cheaper, but they're good. It's gonna cost you more than you think. It's not gonna be $20,000 like it was in the beginning of the movement-ish, and it's not gonna be $20,000 like tiny house hunters will have you believe, unless you're buying a 20-footer. I didn't do much research into 20-foot feet tiny homes, because did I just say 20 feet tiny homes, because it was something that was too small for me, so I didn't really look at that much. I went 24 feet and above and decided on 26 feet for many reasons. Maybe I'll do a video on why I did that. The bigger you go, the more it's going to cost you. So if you want a 32-foot home because you want a lot of space, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So just keep that in mind when you go tiny. So I had the privilege of paying for my house in cash. Most people will not, unless they're selling a large asset to get a tiny home. So I want you to keep that in mind. A lot of places that will finance your tiny home want 20% down, from what I've heard. So also keep that in mind. 20% of $60,000. I don't know how much that is. Don't ask me. 3? I can't do math. Whatever. And then so you're going to have a mortgage, but even so, your mortgage is only going to be what? No more than $600 a month, depending on how much you want to pay and how much you're taking your loan out for. But I haven't seen like any for more than $600 a month. And that's being, you know, that's a max because of how low your initial loan amount is. So think about that. You know, y'all, when I'm not doing videos, she don't scream. She don't scream. Anyway, so I am going to tell you my expenses. I'm going to go ahead and tell you my expenses, and then you can add how much you think your mortgage is going to be to that, and it'll tell you how much you're looking to spend roughly living tiny. And then you can tell me whether or not tiny house living is worth it, financially at least. So for my lot rental, she really ain't stopping. For my lot rental, I pay $450 a month, and that includes $450 a month, and that includes water, sewage, electric, and the lot rental. Unless you're going to like a specialized RV park, where they have like seasonal people, like if you're in Daytona, seasons change the prices. I haven't seen any more than $650 a month max for a lot rental, you know. So, and those places typically have other things like cable or Wi-Fi included sometimes. So I pay $450. My Wi-Fi is $54.99 because I'm still a grad student and I'm still a person who is alive in 2021, so I need Wi-Fi. Hulu, I pay $13.99 a month. Hulu and Disney Plus I pay $7.91 a month. Those two things are not necessary, so you can obviously just deduct them from this mathing. My phone bill is $43. My gas is $200 a month. My food is $200 a month, and my car insurance comes out to about $116. So in total, my monthly expenses are My total monthly expenses are $1,085.89, give or take, and then add an extra $30 a month for propane refill if you have propane. She's not stopping. And then, thank you, Delaney. You don't have to scream it at us. Thank you. No, thank you. And then my tiny house insurance. Yes, so my tiny house insurance only came up to about $700 in total. I just got the value of the home insured. I did not get the contents inside insured because there's nothing in my house worth literally anything. And then I didn't pay for in case it got stolen, because with my location it would be very hard to just up and take my tiny house without someone seeing anything about it. And I've got cameras, so I just didn't add that in. And I paid for that up front because they only charge like 23% interest, and I was like, no, okay. So factored insurance, and that's it. $1,085.89 is my monthly total, give or take $30 for propane if I need to get more propane that month. That's freaking amazing. Like, that's literally, you're not gonna find that if you're renting, and you're not gonna find that if you own a home. I mean, if you own your own home, maybe, but I don't know. So financially, tiny house living is so worth it. And if you add what, like the $500-600 a month, which would be your mortgage, you're still $1,500-1,600. You're still under $2,000 a month in your monthly expenses. Like, that's really good, really good. And there were words that would come out of my mouth towards you guys about this. I remember that. So you can see why people that are on a debt-free journey typically go the tiny route, because it just makes your expenses go down so much that you can pay off your debt quicker and then save up in case you want to move into another house, or save up to do whatever it is that you want to do. And that's one of the main reasons why I went tiny in the beginning, were to lower my finances, and I wanted to travel a bit more, but you know, we're in a pandemic, I don't have a job. But once the pandemic thing is, you know, under control and I get my job back, I'm totally gonna go travel because my expenses allow me to. Oh, and pay off my debt. I'm totally paying off my debt.
Daddy.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
So in terms of finances, yeah, okay. And I also want to just go ahead and add that my expenses don't include anything like credit card debt or car loans, because I don't have any of those. I am on a debt-free journey, and I paid off my credit card debt, which I didn't have much to begin with. I think I had like $1,800 of that, and then I paid off my car with some money that I had, and I got into an accident, and I bought a new car with the cash I got from that. But anyways, so the only debt that I have is student loans, which are in income-based repayments right now because I have no money and no job, and that's at $54,001 right now. And so I'm just saying this all to acknowledge the privilege that I have, that I don't have any other debt. And so if you do have debt, you can always just add those on to like the calculations that I had on my expenses. Obviously they're not going to be exactly the same, but they should be pretty similar. But either way, it still should be cheaper than if you were to rent a place. Obviously I know there's some places where $450 a month you can rent, an apartment or a house. But I also know that there's a lot of places where that is not the case. And if you live in one of those places, tiny house living is still financially a great way to go. I don't like when you do that. That hurts my feelings. Yeah, it hurts my feelings, okay? Will you talk over me? I don't know what cows are. Here, play with this. So in terms of finances, tiny house living is 100% worth it. Nalini, that's hurting my feelings, and I don't like when you do that. No, just come here. Emotionally, tiny house living is a lot more different than traditional living. And so that's another aspect to consider. But in terms of just finances, tiny house living is better, even with the Nalini, stop doing that, please. Even with the high cost of tiny houses. Yes, baby. And so in the next video, I want to talk about the emotional aspect of tiny house living, because on social media, we have a tendency to just post all the fun parts of it, and it can be a lot living tiny. So I'll discuss that in next week's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm glad that you are here. And if there's any questions you have or anything you want answered in a video, leave it in the comments below. Follow me on Instagram at ThisTinyJourney. You can DM me there. I'm always down to answer tiny house questions or cloth diaper questions. I love those two things. So thank you so much. I hope you all have a great week, and blessed be.